So, let's talk about a book we all think we know, George Orwell's 1984. It's this terrifying vision of a future totally crushed by an oppressive government. But what if I told you there's a huge piece of the puzzle that we've all been missing? Today, we're going to look at this classic in a totally new way, one that reveals not just a deeper, hidden layer of control, but, believe it or not, a surprising glimmer of hope.
Yeah, Big Brother is watching you. It's probably the most famous line from the book, right? It's become our go-to phrase for total surveillance. You think of the telescreens on every wall, the thought police listening in. It's this idea that you are being watched constantly. That's the image of control we all have of this world.
But what if that's not the real prison? What if the cameras are just a distraction? Let's really dig into this. What if the party's real power isn't just in watching you, but in controlling the very space you live in? The rooms you sit in, the hallways you walk down, the whole layout of your life. Because that's where the real mechanism of discipline actually happens.
All right, so how do they pull this off? To really get it, we need to understand how they literally manipulate the physical world to get inside people's bodies and minds.
Okay, to unlock this, we're going to borrow an idea from a philosopher named Michel Foucault. Now, he had this term, political economic of the body. I know it sounds super academic, but stick with me, the idea is actually pretty straightforward. He basically said that true power isn't about laws or threats. Now, it's about organizing people in space, controlling where they are and when, to make them compliant, useful, and, predictable. And Foucault kind of broke this down into three main pillars. And what's wild is that the party uses every single one. First, you've got enclosure. Basically keeping everyone in their own little silo. You've got your work box, your home box, and you never, ever get to see the whole system. Second, constant observation. That's the telescreen, making you your own prison guard. And finally, normalization. This is where they make anything that even smells of individuality a serious crime.
And this quote from the book just nails it. The psychological genius of the telescreen is that you never actually know if you're being watched. It's the not knowing. The possibility that you're being watched is what does the trick. It forces you to act like you're always being watched. You end up policing yourself. And you can see this normalization thing in the crazy crimes the party invents. Own life. Just wanting to be alone is a crime. Face crime. Letting your expressions slip and show what you're really thinking, a crime. And then the big one, thought crime. These aren't just about controlling actions. They're about wiping out the very idea that you even have a private inner self.
Think about the sheer amount of effort this takes. The constant watching, changing history every day, the psychological torture, it's just immense. And it all begs the biggest question in the whole book. Why? What's the point of all this? What's the end game?
And our main guy, Winston Smith, he's totally obsessed with this. He writes it in his diary. He gets the how. He sees the gears of the machine turning all around him. But the why, that's the part that terrifies him. Because he just can't figure it out.
Well, the answer eventually comes, and it comes from his torturer, O'Brien. And this is where things get really dark. See, O'Brien's idea of power is a complete break from someone like Foucault. For Foucault, power is this network, this current that flows through society. But for O'Brien, no. Power is a hammer. It's a thing you hold. It isn't for achieving something else. Power is the point. And O'Brien lays it out in the most chilling way possible. He just says it. The party seeks power entirely for its own sake. There's no grand plan for a better society. It's all for power, just pure power. The whole system, the lies, the torture, it exists just for the thrill of it. It's honestly one of the most terrifying motives ever written.
So, okay, is that where we leave it? Is the whole point of 1984 just resistance is futile? It's easy to think so. But I don't think that's the whole story. If you look really, really closely, you start to see these little cracks in the system. These small spaces where resistance starts to form.
Yeah, the usual takeaway is that Winston fails, right? He gets broken, he learns to love Big Brother, the party wins, the end. It feels completely hopeless. But let's push back on that a little. Is that really what's going on?
Remember Foucault, he had another really important idea. Wherever you find power, you will always find resistance. It's not always a big dramatic revolution. A lot of the time, it's small, it's personal, it's hidden. So, where is it hiding in 1984?
What this means is we have to change what we're looking for. We're not going to find some secret army plotting to overthrow the government. The resistance here is much quieter. It's in all the small ways people refuse to be completely erased. the tiny little rebellions that keep a spark of humanity going when the whole world is trying to snuff it out.
And it starts with Winston finding a tiny flaw in the system's design. There's this little alcove in his apartment, a weird architectural quirk, where the telescreen can't see him. And in that little blind spot, he writes his diary. He uses a flaw in the physical space to create a free space for his mind. It's a spatial transgression.
And then you've got Julia. Her resistance is all about the body. She uses her sexuality as a weapon against the party's obsession with purity. And Winston gets it. He says their embrace was a battle, a victory. For him, it's not just a fling, it's a political act. It's taking back something deeply human that the party wants to control.
And maybe the deepest form of resistance is the one that happens inside your own head, just trying to stay human. In this world where feelings are forbidden, Winston decides that an embrace, a tear, a moment of real connection, these things matter. Just valuing that connection, that's a rebellion in itself.
So all these small acts are hugely important, but Winston's biggest, most powerful act of resistance, it wasn't physical at all. It was an act of creation.
See, the real rebellion in this book isn't fought with weapons. It's fought with a pen and paper. It's a simple fact that Winston decides to keep a diary, to write down the truth in a world that's built on a mountain of lies. That is the ultimate crime, creating a piece of knowledge that the party cannot control.
And think about who he's writing it for. He says it himself, to the future, to a time when thought is free. He's writing to us. He knows, he absolutely knows that this diary is a death sentence. But he does it anyway, like he's putting a message in a bottle and tossing it into the ocean of time.
And this is where it all clicks into place. This is the big reveal. Winston's desperate act of writing a diary is a perfect mirror for George Orwell himself writing the novel 1984.
Just think about it. Orwell wrote 1984 while he was literally dying. He knew he didn't have much time left, just like Winston knew his time was short. And he was writing for a very clear political reason, to sound the alarm about totalitarianism. So in this view, Winston doesn't fail, because his diary is the book you and I have read. The warning got out. The resistance succeeded.
So that leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? If their act of writing was this incredible act of political resistance, a message sent to a future they knew they'd never see, what does it mean for us, here, in that future, to receive that message? What does it mean to read it?